There are moments when time feels infinite, like the sun will always rise for you, like there will always be another chance, another morning, another tomorrow. But the truth is, life doesn't wait. It moves quietly, steadily, even when we stand still. If you've ever felt lost in your own stillness, wondering where the hours went, stay. Subscribe to the Tales Beyond Word for more motivation and healing, and let this story remind you of the quiet miracle hidden in every passing second. He was the kind of boy who always said, "I'll do it later." Homework, chores, dreams, they all had a place in his tomorrow. His name was Arin, a boy with soft eyes and a heart full of someday. He wasn't lazy because he didn't care, no, it was deeper than that. He feared effort. He feared trying and failing. So he found comfort in delay. It was safer to dream than to do. Safer to imagine a better future than to face the messy work it required. Every morning his mother would gently call out, "Arin, wake up, it's getting late." And every morning he'd murmur, "5 more minutes." But those 5 minutes always stretched into an hour, then a day, and then quietly into years. He watched his friends move ahead, getting jobs, finding purpose, becoming something. And he stayed the same, watching life happen like a movie he wasn't part of. He'd smile at their success, but deep down, he felt small, like time had been generous to everyone but him. His father used to say, "Time doesn't stop for anyone, son. Either you move with it or you get left behind." Arin would nod, pretending to understand, but he didn't, not really. Not until life began showing him what that meant. One day, his father didn't wake up, a silent heart attack in the night. No warning, no goodbye. Just gone. Arin stood beside his father's bed, staring at the stillness that used to be filled with sound, the hum of advice, the laughter over breakfast, the gentle scolding. Time felt cruel then, like it had stolen something he hadn't valued enough when it was there. He spent weeks in silence. The house felt heavier. The clock on the wall ticked louder as if mocking him. Every tick whispered, "You can't rewind." He started to notice how fast mornings turned into nights, how seasons shifted while he barely changed, how dreams, when ignored long enough, turn into regrets. One evening, he sat by the window, the same window he had looked through countless times while daydreaming about someday. The sunset painted his room in gold. It was beautiful and painful, because beauty always hurts when you realize you've been too distracted to notice it before. He whispered to himself, "What have I done with all this time?" It wasn't a dramatic moment, no lightning, no grand revelation, just quiet honesty. And sometimes that's where change begins, not in noise, but in stillness that finally tells the truth. The next morning, for the first time, Arin woke before the alarm. He didn't feel ready, but he stood up anyway. He made his bed, something he hadn't done in months. He went for a walk. The world felt different, not because it had changed, but because he had begun to. The air smelled cleaner. The sunrise looked like an invitation. And for a boy who once wasted time, that morning felt like redemption. He started small, helping his mother with chores, reading again, learning new things online. Some days he felt motivated, other days he felt the old laziness creeping back. But instead of fighting it, he learned to talk to it. He'd say, "Not today, I've wasted enough." Months passed. The change was slow, painfully slow. But one day his mother smiled and said, "You look like your father when he was your age." It broke something open in him, not sadness this time, but pride. Because for the first time, he was living in a way his father would have been proud of. Arin began helping younger boys in his neighborhood, the ones who reminded him of himself, always saying, "Later," always afraid of trying. He'd sit with them and tell stories about how time doesn't punish or forgive, it simply moves. It's what you do within it that makes it a friend or an enemy. Sometimes they ask, "How do you change when it feels too late?" And he'd smile gently and say, "You start by changing how you see time. It's not leaving you, it's waiting for you to wake up." He learned that life isn't about rushing or catching up. It's about noticing that every morning you wake up is another chance, another gift. That even after wasting years, you can still begin again, because time, though it moves forward, always welcomes those who finally choose to move with it. Years later, Arin stood at a small stage, giving a talk at a local school about perseverance. The same boy who once hid from effort now spoke about it with a calm certainty. He looked at the young faces in the crowd and said, "The laziest years of my life taught me the most. That time doesn't wait, but it forgives. You just have to stop asking for 5 more minutes and start using the one you already have." There was silence in the hall, a kind of silence that comes when words reach the heart before the mind can respond. And in that moment, Arin realized he hadn't just learned the value of time, he had lived it. After the event, he walked home through the soft evening light. He passed by the old window of his childhood home. His reflection stared back, older, calmer, content. The sunset was still golden, but this time he didn't just watch it fade. He stood there, grateful. He knew now that time had never been his enemy. It had always been his teacher. And sometimes, the only way to learn its lesson is to run out of excuses. He smiled softly and whispered to himself, "Thank you for waiting." And if this story touched a quiet part of your heart, maybe your own time for change begins now. Maybe your next sunrise will mean something more. Stay close and subscribe to the Tales Beyond Word for more motivation and healing. Because sometimes, the right story doesn't just fill your time, it helps you finally value it.